Hi everyone, it's good to be with you today. This is Mo from Morta speaking, and it's really good to be back at the BIM Coordinator Summit. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the role of connected information hubs in supporting you in moving away from spreadsheets to reduce your risk and increase your productivity. The way we see it is today, projects rely on hundreds of disconnected Excel files and systems to plan and track information. Regardless of who I am in a project, and especially if I'm an information manager, I'm pulling in data from various systems like Aconex, Viewpoint, Autodesk Construction Cloud, Revit, Celebri, Revisto, and many other systems. And I'm pulling this data into Excel-based trackers and files. Examples of these include my exchange information requirements, my responsibility matrices, my documents trackers, my actuals reports, my supply chain reports, and many, many others. And at best, what then happens is these trackers get uploaded into Power BI dashboards. These trackers are often also the same place where you do the detailed planning or the specification. So the specification of the requirements, the specification of the deliverables that you're planning, and so on and so forth. And they often have to interface with a range of documents that have a lot of key data that's associated with these trackers. Examples of that include BIM execution plans and EIRs. Now, that's of course causing all kinds of challenges within the industry. And we're seeing really that this status quo is leading to poor information quality. It affects the accuracy of the information. It affects the completeness of the information, the consistency of the information across these different files and these different sources. It's difficult to understand whether all of the information is valid. It's certainly not unique because you're duplicating all of this information across the board. And then the integrity of a lot of this information is questionable. What that then in turn leads to is it affects the productivity and the performance of yourselves and of like the projects more broadly speaking. So fundamentally, it means that there's poor visibility. It's difficult to understand where a process is at any given point in time, how many of the information deliverables that I have planned have actually been delivered, for instance. It results in time being lost on doing these processes manually. It introduces risks. Ultimately, in these projects, we'll have thousands of deliverables, for example, and we'll need to track these quite frequently. And as a person, you can make mistakes. And opportunities for improvement and for learning are being lost. Now, really, the way we see it is the vision should be and the target should be to embed information management in project delivery. Every single team benefits from good information management. That could be the requirements and quality team, that could be the cost team, the carbon team, the planning team, design, construction teams. If you're an asset owner, it could be the operations team. It could be the supply chain management teams and the workforce and the material and the assets management teams. But it's also yourselves. And we're seeing that all of you will have different trackers that sit on Excel, as we've mentioned. So our goal really as Morta is to help you connect these trackers with each other over time and enable the use of data and information across these project functions. And we do that by supporting you from collecting data from various types of systems. That could be the project schedule, that could be the common data environment, that could be the ERP, that could be the field system. And then on the right-hand side, what we really think should be unlocked for the industry is you should be able to derive insights from these various things. So you should be able to create Power BI dashboards, you should be able to create visual models, GIS, and maybe like even pull it into your AI initiatives. So really, we should move from disconnected Excel-based trackers into a world where we have connected trackers that are pulling in and reusing data from various sources and enabling you to derive insights from these. Now, if we break down one of these workflows, one of the like very good examples of disconnected data that we see in information management processes is deliverable planning and tracking. So you'll have the reference data, the responsibilities, standards, and procedures, and the requirements trackers. Those ideally should be connected to your master information delivery plans. and or your master trackers, which should then be able to contain the different input of the different task teams. And then you should have external solutions that enable something which is where the information ultimately gets delivered. And we think those should be connected. So the requirements should be connected to the deliverable plans, which should then in turn be connected to the external solutions. And fundamentally, this then enables you to reduce risk. It enables you to automatically track plan versus actual, and it gives you near real-time visibility and leading indicators of performance. Now, that's the vision, that's the ambition for many of the companies that we've been working with and we've been supporting. So the question becomes, how do you get there? If you have that vision of connecting your information, how do you actually do it? And moving and eliminating Excel and Word from the mix. We're seeing there are various different approaches. The first, and you'll see within like some of the BIM communities, there are point solutions that are emerging that will aim to replace the Word and Excel files. We're seeing the challenge with these, though, is they're not as flexible. They're not necessarily focused on the data. They don't necessarily connect well with the wide range of systems. And that's always been the case with point solutions. The second option we're seeing is some companies at a certain scale will start building solutions themselves. Those end up being slightly clunky, they take time to build, they're very difficult to make changes to, they're not very agile, and again, they will struggle to connect to the wider range of systems. The third and most interesting concept, I would say, is no-code solutions. So if you've come across things like Airtable, Notion, Coda, and so on and so forth, Smartsheets is another one that pops up, Monday.com. They're all examples of these types of solutions. What I really like about no-code solutions is they're really flexible. They maintain that thing we really like about Excel and Word is you can build what you want in the way that you want it and the way that you think is right. And there is a lot of inspiration to be taken from these solutions. But the challenge is they're not built for construction and the built environment specifically, which then means you need to figure out how to build your EIRs and IDPs on them yourself. You need to figure out how integrations work yourself. Their pricing model isn't well aligned for the industry. Their permissions aren't well set up for the industry, and that causes all kinds of challenges. Where we come in is we provide, we see ourselves as an example of these, a no-code solution. And really, we provide customizable hubs that connect information, point solutions, and teams together. Rather than having Word and Excel-based resources, you can bring this information into a single web-based platform. You can give your different teams access to this information. This can then ultimately link with a wide range of other systems in order to enable you to eliminate the need to manually enter data and do double data entry, and in order to support you in reusing that data and to the extent possible. Now, the first key thing about the platform is what you would see in most of the no-code solutions. So we have the familiarity and the flexibility of spreadsheets with the power of a database. And we think this is really important. We think the main reason you've been using Excel is you can build on Excel the tracker that you want in the way that you think is right. And we support in that. So you can build the tracker that you want. You can add the columns that you want as a super user. But as an end user, they would not be able to change these different column types and the columns that have been set. The second thing is each of these columns has a type. So if it's a status, it's a select list. If it's a date, it's a date field in a specific format, which allows you to collect consistent and high quality data. And then the third aspect is rather than having many tables per team, you can bring all of this information into one table and have different views of that. The second key aspect is we make it very easy for you to reuse data and automate tracking with one-click integrations. So these are some of the systems that we can pull data from, and you can do that very easily by using our sync data options. We also have integrations with systems like Revit through collaborations with DRoots, and then we have many more also lined up. You can also, we think AI's real value is in making information more accessible and enabling you to get insights from your data. So, one of the features we're currently investing in is enabling you to ask questions of these documents that you built on top of the platform. And finally, we make it very easy for you to get started on the platform by having ready to use best practice templates that you can really use to get started. So examples of that include CDE data audits, BIM execution plans, EIRs, MIDPs, O&Ms, and so on and so forth. Now, teams across the supply chain are using the platform. So we're working with owners, we're working with multidisciplinary design firms, tier one contractors, and specialists who we see as our partners. I think the biggest takeaway from this slide is unlike the other no code solutions, the lowest common denominator between Morta is someone who's working on construction. And that means the platform is only moving in a certain direction that's more suitable for your needs. The second thing is we have experience working across the tiers of the supply chain, which means if we're advising or you're using a template for an EIR, we've thought through about how would that interact, for example, with the MITP that a delivery partner would be using. Now, teams end up adopting the platform for various reasons, but fundamentally it boils down to increasing productivity and reducing risk. So the first key thing is you're decreasing the risk of mistakes and ensuring compliance. The second is you're saving at least a day a week from every full-time employee. You're supporting consistency and standardization and gaining more visibility and insight into the processes. We're also seeing that readiness for Industry 4.0 is becoming a really key thing, and that's another one of the key drivers really for the use of the platform. We have various examples of clients who are using us. The first is the Ministry of Justice estate. They wanted to effectively manage information in one of the largest estates in the UK. We've been able to support them in doing that, and they've been able to create a connected approach to managing organization assets and project information. This has helped them in achieving consistency and visibility across programs, reducing the number of unique requirements they manage by over 85%, and in automating tracking across tens of viewpoint instances. Another example is Kier. So Kier had started using the platform initially to replace Excel. They had built Power BI dashboards and they had tried to create standardized Excel-based templates, but people kept making changes to these templates. And really what they've been able to do is create a standardized and automated approach to information delivery planning and tracking on the platform. And one of the things that they really like, I'm seeing some CDE vendors are adding in ITPs, but one of the things that they recognize is there are different clients will have different CDEs. And whatever they use needs to be able to interface with a wide range of CDEs that exist on the market because they'll need to track against all of them. And they found that Morta is really is massively beneficial here because of its positioning as a third party. The third example of this is Mott MacDonald. They had previously used it. They had previously developed certain tools to tackle some of these problems on some of their largest jobs, but they found that that was very hard to maintain and scale across their client base. And they then came across Morta. They found that it gives them a compromise between Excel and hardcore database solutions. And this has then ultimately saved them time. It's given them audit trails and visibility on performance. Now, thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions or if you want to try out, please do head over to morta.io to just give you a quick visual of what the platform looks like if you head over to a trial. To just give you a bit, so yeah, thanks a lot for listening. And if you're interested in a trial, all you have to do is head over to our website and you can click on start 30-day free trial. Once you've done that, you will be logged in, and you can then see here I would have access to the different templates that we have that you can use within your projects. So this, for example, is an information delivery plan and what that looks like. And then really you can take it from there. So I hope you found this useful, and I look forward to engaging with you further.